Hey everybody, I appreciate you. Um, I would like you to subscribe or give me a like anyway after the end of this. I could use it. Give the old man a little, a little thumbs up, if you will. I want to talk about this premise that Russia somehow was going to come to Iran's aid. I know some of the Putin apologists and propagandists that are on some of these shows, um, especially before the first last year Iranian and Israeli confrontation, if you will. And we're talking about how Russian military transport planes are landing in Iran, and well, we don't know what's on them, but we can just guess it's air defense systems and Russian technicians and all of this. And, Russia, they signed an agreement, and Russia has a mutual defense pact with Iran. No, it does not. Russia has basically an economic partnership, an agreement partnership, and defense cooperation. Defense cooperation is, defense technology and weapons and stuff like this, and maybe training exchange. It is not a mutual defense treaty. Okay, Putin has said that explicitly, and just recently during the just recently, I think at the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, that that's not part of the agreement with Iran. They're not going to get involved. And another thing that people were were basically misinformed and spreading this misinformation. Excuse me. Is that Iran has Russian S-400s? No, they don't. Putin said they don't. I think he said that maybe they talked about it. If I'm not right, if I'm not wrong, but Iran does not have S-400 from Russia. Russia didn't sell them to Syria either at the request of Israel. Russia didn't sell them to Iran at the request of Israel. Okay, the Iranians are not dependent on Russia for any defense. Just because they learned from Syria. Okay, Russia sat by when the head choppers booted Assad out. They want to put everything on Assad, this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other. But everyone knows there was an embargo. They couldn't get money, this, that, and the other. Russia knew that before they went in. Russia sat by as long as they were promised their naval bases, their military bases there would not be molested. Okay, that's it. The Iranians and Russia did economic deals more than anything else. The international north-south transport corridor that goes from the Caspian Sea, which is borders northern Iran, all the way down to the Persian Gulf, to move cargo. And they did some trial runs that basically came out of Russia. It was wood products, lumber and stuff, and went down and went into India. Okay, so Russia's deals with Iran were more economic than anything else. They're not going to their defense. They have no intention. And as Putin just said yesterday, I think, or the day before, that they are not assisting, and the Iranians haven't asked for any assistance, haven't asked for anything, because the Iranians are standing on their own. But another thing which is interesting, Putin said he has assurances from Israel that the Bushehr nuclear plant will not be molested or not be attacked by them. Well, how is it that any type of nuclear facility in Iran is a threat to Israel, or if you listen to Trump and his team, it's a threat to the world, the global security, or the European global security? Huh? You're going to attack all these others, but you'll leave the Russian ones alone. And of course, Russia doesn't care who's in power, okay, if there's regime change, because they'll continue to contract for the billions or whatever to make these to build this nuclear power plant in Bushehr, and probably some others that are on the drawing board. So Iran certainly is not depending on Putin or the Russians for any defense. They're on their own. Okay, the only one that may, and now Russia may sell them something, may fly something in. Okay, because by all accounts, it was the Iranian drones that helped Putin at the beginning of his assault on Ukraine, and the Russians have licensed, I imagine, those drones, and they're building their own now. But Iran's not going to depend on Russia, because they know that Russia is not dependable. They're not. I don't care what they say. Okay, we have Putin talking about he'd like to he offered himself to work as an agent to slow down the friction, the vibe. Okay, uh, as some reports said, an off ramp for Iran. Putin needs an off ramp for himself in Ukraine. He's been going on almost 4 years and can't whip the Ukrainians. That's something else. With all his, you hear the Putin apologists and propagandists that, oh, Lavrov is, you know, second to none. He's been in that business, excuse me, for 22 years, and Putin and this, that, and the other. But yet, Boris Johnson went over there and put the kibosh in it a few years ago when the Russians and the Ukrainians were sitting down signing deals to end the war, and all it took was Boris Johnson to stop that, to put a stick in the spoke. So I don't know what Putin and thinks that he can do in this situation. You wouldn't allow the Iranians to have the S-400. You wouldn't have the Syrians. You sat back, Putin, and watched the Israelis launch airstrikes against Syria at will. It wouldn't give the Syrians or sell them what they needed to defend themselves. Okay? So people say you're an ally. To Assad at the time, I say you're an opportunist. Okay? And I think you're an opportunist too with the Iranians. You'll sell them something. You're not going to their defense. Okay? And guess what? When the oil prices go up, which they are going up, they're going to go up. If they're not going up already, Russia is the one that will benefit. Okay? The conflict helps Russia with their oil sales, because the price of oil goes up, means Russian oil goes up. That's one of their major funders of their economy, is the oil industry. And if it goes up, they get money. So Putin will sit back and he'll say, well, you know, and then of course, Trump said no, he doesn't need Putin in the mix. Of course, Trump put himself in the mix with the Ukraine-Russian war. He wanted to try to negotiate some sort of settlement, and it's not working. Another failure. And I guess he wanted to put this attack on Iran's nuclear facilities as a feather in his hat. It may turn around and bite him real big time. Like I say, you got the Bannon and Tucker Carlson, and I don't know the others, but there are. And Marjorie Taylor Greene again that said, what are we over there doing this for? We got no business. I mean, they're not. You worried about the economy and saving money, but yet you're spending billions of dollars over there. We got no business. And again, the Iranians promised the Israelis, if you strike us, we're going to pound you. They promised Trump. They promised America the same thing. All y'all hooting and hollering, hoorah, hoorah. You think war is fun and fine? Huh? We haven't whipped the Houthis, what y'all call the Houthis. I call them the Yemeni military. We haven't. But the Houthis are still standing. Huh? Iran's still standing. You think it's going to be regime change? Baby, I think that the Iranians have made promises that they will keep, that they have kept. And I think that Mr. Trump has hit a hornet's nest. The Iranian government is not going to bend over. Okay? They're not going to acquiesce. What we've done is harden their resolve. Okay? They know that they're in it by themselves. They know it. Because again, Putin has said it. And of course, everyone's saying S-400, S-400. And again, the Putin apologists. I mean, I don't like the name, but Larry Johnson for one. Oh, the military cargo planes. And I don't know. I know that one for a fact because he said it numerous times. No, there were no Russian technicians training the Iranians. The air defense system that Iran has is homegrown. Okay, you think they built offensive missile capability for 20 years and didn't build any air defense? Huh? That would be clownish. Okay, they're more capable than that. While they were building air defense, they were offensive weapons. They were building air defense as well. And again, Putin said they don't have S-400s in Iran because you know why? It wouldn't be a secret. When Turkey bought them, everyone knew it. The Russians admitted it. American intel knew it. American politicians knew it. And the Russians, the Turkish, they didn't keep it a secret. The Turks. When India bought them, they didn't keep it a secret. There was no reason to keep it a secret. They got a right to buy whatever they want. They buy Israeli and American weapons. Why can't they buy Russian? We tried to threaten sanctions, whatever. Anyway, people were talking about that they've got the Russian S-400, the Larry Johnsons of the world, and others on the judge. I like the judge. I like his Um, I like I like his show. A lot of very interesting people. Philip Giraldi is my favorite. He really is my favorite. I watch him on the New American Conservative or the American Conservative and some other stuff. I get some of the stuff, and also Facebook. I look at his communication. But these people that think Putin walks on water, and people ask, I think the judge asked, might have been Larry Johnson. Um, oh, okay, Gilbert Doctorow was on the judge the other day, and he asked him, and Gilbert Doctorow, he's another smart cookie. He tells it as it is, not how he liked to see it. But he may not sit at the table in the Kremlin, but he talks to the people that sits at the table in the Kremlin. Real smart guy, and he's saying that Russia has nothing to do with it. They don't have an opinion on it, so on and so forth. So Russia's not coming to Iran's aid. Iran does not have S-400s. Okay, for all you smart people that know it all, that's out of Putin's own mouth 2 days ago. Says they don't have them. That they're not helping Iran, and Iran has not asked for help. So when uh, the judge asked people, will Russia allow an American attack on Iran? And people say, oh no, I don't think so. Well, guess what? Evidently, they have. They're not providing anything to Iran. Iran's dealing by themselves, and I think that's proper for Iran because now they won't be beholden to anyone. Okay, if you're beholden to people, then you're in a weak position. Iran's not in a weak position, but some of those talking heads and some of those former intel and for these lieutenant colonels and so on, retired, say that Iran doesn't need any help. 90 million people, the size of Western Europe. Okay, and they've got it spread out. Trump has opened a hornet's nest. Maybe we've walked into a trap. The arrogance, if that's what the Iranians call us, the arrogance. The Israelis, the Americans, and the Western Europeans. If the arrogance makes a misstep, they will receive a crushing response. I believe them. People poo-poo that when the Israelis and everybody, not poo-pooing it anymore. And people are trying to get people. You had to shut down the airport. Flights aren't coming in and going out, huh? You're underestimating them. Your arrogance got in the way of reality. Okay, and the Iranians are showing you that. Are they going to show us? No, they can't strike the United States, our homeland. They can't strike here, but they certainly can hit places far away. Far away is Israel. Well, if they can hit the port, Haifa, they can hit assets in the Mediterranean Sea. Haifa's on the Mediterranean, huh? Not too much further. They can hit American assets. I think maybe we're in the Gulf, the Persian Gulf. If not, we know we're in the, not too far off the Indian Ocean. I don't know how far Iranian missiles will go, but I know we've got 40, 50,000 troops around that area, and I'd hate to see any of them get harmed or killed. But that was a promise from Iran. I understand that you volunteer for the military, you didn't volunteer for the Boy Scouts, okay? But by its very nature, being a soldier, a sailor, a Marine, you put yourself in harm's way. That's part of the job description. So I have limited sympathy because that's your job. You took it. Like a fireman gets hurt. Well, nobody made him join the fire department, just like soldiers. But nonetheless, I still don't want to see anything happen to you. You got friends and family back here, and they need you back. I would say, it's up to me. I'd say all military people come on back to America and help rebuild America, physically help it rebuild America. But I'm not running things. But anyway, I'm hoping the people in the Middle East, in American military safety, and hope you get on out of there. But I'm telling you right now, if the example that Iran is setting recently by responding to Israeli unprovoked attack is any example, if this is an example, then fasten your seatbelts because I don't think it's over. Okay, I don't think it's over. Israel but Israel also knew it could depend on a weak American government. That America would follow them into this fray, and it's stupid, it's idiotic. Um, Israel thought they could do what they wanted and get away with it, and they're finding out. And they've killed a lot of civilians. They know Iranians. They're a terror. It's terror. Look at they kill civilians. They kill apartment blocks. There's not an apartment block standing in Gaza. That's okay. Um, these people that were these leaders, these military personnel, and these nuclear scientists, they were home in bed with their families, grandkids, families, kids, grandkids visiting, neighbors. Think it just went in and killed the general in his bed? No, killed other people in those apartment buildings. Okay, so you want to point the finger? Guess what? It's coming right back at you. Iran promised you. You're getting your nose bloody. I think it's going to get a whole lot bloodier before this is over for Israel and America. Quit thinking about regime change. Want to put the Shah of Iran's son in. Shah of Iran was a tool of America. Anybody remember the Savak secret police? They used to snatch people off the street. Anyway, I don't think regime change is going to work. The Iranian people are down with their government. I don't know if I mentioned this. I know I saw Kim Iverson, I think it was yesterday, saying that I would like to see Ayatollah go just by the way they treat women. How are they treating women over there, Kim? Oh, there's no free press. But yet on your show, there's a guy with a microphone standing in front of a building, a hospital that's of the media center, big, huge media center, that's on fire from Israeli strikes. But there's no free press. Everybody in Iran, just like everybody around the world, has got a phone with a camera. Okay? There are visitors, tourists, all through all parts of Iran. They've got a big tourist industry, taking cameras, taking videos, and so on and so forth of people. People are living their lives, beautiful malls, beautiful shopping centers, beautiful bazaars, beautiful universities and mosques. Okay, women all over. Yesterday, a woman in the streets protesting with the Ayatollah poster. Okay, plenty of women. People talk about, well, there's protest. That shows the level of freedom. Okay, because true dictatorships, they don't allow it. Okay, people say, well, they're protesting. Look at that. They had an anti-Trump women's march here in America. Remember that? Thousands of people showed up. Thousands of women. Okay. Okay. Protests right now in Paris, all over America against Trump. Not even just a women's march, but protesting Trump. In Britain, protesting their government. In Paris, protesting their government. So what does that mean? Because this protest, what? So they need to be overthrown? That's freedom. That's democracy. When you can protest your government, Miss Iverson. The women over there are fine. I believe, if not this administration, I know the last administration, there was a female, a woman vice president. They say, oh no, let me tell you something. That's not for window dressing. The Iranians don't check boxes. Only America checks boxes in Western Europe. Got to have a woman, got to have a gay, got to have a no. They don't do it over there. Just like in Syria, the vice president was a woman. Venezuela, vice president was a woman. All these regimes are so brutal. Yeah, right. You believe the propaganda. Kim Iverson, just do a little research, okay? The women over there are fine, okay? They're not being brutalized. They're not being marginalized. You can bet that, okay? And if they were, they'd make changes, okay? Because the country is having protests doesn't mean that they need to be overthrown, okay? Because like I say, we have protests in America on a regular basis. Protests. It'll be a protest against Biden, the Democrat, or Trump, the Republican, or George W., the Republican, or Clinton, the Democrat, or Biden, or Obama. That's the sign of democracy and a certain level of freedom, okay? And they protest in Iran as well, okay? And so on. They protest in Iraq, okay? So anyway, I'm going to let that go. Talk to you later. Please like and subscribe. It would help me out. Have a good day.